Dopamine. Dopamine is one of the most important hormones for motivation, focus, and success. If you do not control your dopamine, if you're like all of these scrubs out here that are busting 3, 4 nuts on Pornhub every single day, you are going to be depleted of your energy, of your motivation, and your willpower. I used to be that scrub back when I was in college, especially when I got my hands on my brother's Playboy magazines. Bro, I would lock myself in my room for days at a time, busting all kinds of nuts. And what I did not realize at the time was that it was destroying my motivation. It was destroying my discipline to hit the gym, to work on my goals, because I was getting this cheap fix of dopamine. It's like drugs, man. You get addicted to it, you keep wanting to get that fix, but it just keeps you in this rat race that you can't escape. So it's very important to identify cheap versus rich sources of dopamine. We want to maximize rich sources of dopamine. Gentlemen, before I kick off this video, if you're new to the channel, we are currently on the confidence series. We're focusing on how to maximize confidence. This is the starting point to achieve whatever you want. If you want to make more money, if you want to get higher quality women, relationships in your life, you want to maximize your career, it's all about confidence, your self-belief in yourself. So we are focusing these videos on this content right now. We made a couple. We're currently on episode 7. They're all linked in the description below. If you missed any of them, you can catch up on them below. And I'll also mention that our newsletter is now live. We will be delivering powerful insights and strategies to maximize confidence. Make sure to sign up for that as well. Link below. So let's go ahead and pull up the whiteboard so we can dissect the power of dopamine control. So dopamine control, the standard definition. There's a couple of neurotransmitters, hormones that we need to know what they are and what they do. The biggest one is dopamine. So dopamine is a chemical messenger or neurotransmitter that is produced in the brain and helps nerve cells send messages to each other. It's involved in many body functions. A neurotransmitter is a chemical messenger that transmits signals between nerve cells, neurons, across synapses. The most well-known neurotransmitters include dopamine. Like we said, this is involved in reward, motivation, and motor control. Serotonin, which regulates mood, appetite, and sleep. Bro, I do not know how to pronounce this one. I'm going to give it a crack here, but acetylcholine, involved in muscle activation and memory. Norepinephrine affects attention, response to stress, and arousal. GABA, which is GABA aminobutyric acid, the main inhibitory neurotransmitter, which reduces neuronal excitability. Glutamate, the main excitatory neurotransmitter important for learning and memory. Endorphins, which are involved in pain relief and feelings of pleasure. So these are very important neurotransmitters, hormones, and it's important to know what they do so we can see how they affect the body. The most important ones that we want to focus on here are dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, and endorphins. Endorphins is like the most typical one. When you hit the gym, you get a good pump, hit the weights, that feeling of pleasure, that feeling of well-being after, those are your endorphins that are being released. So the importance of dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical messenger, like we mentioned, and it's important to distinguish cheap versus rich sources of dopamine. So there's a great quote that I like by Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins has a lot of great content when it comes to NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and he mentions that the secret to success is learning how to use pain and pleasure instead of having pain and pleasure use you. So the first thing that comes to mind when I hear this quote is that if you learn how to use pain, you know how to maximize pain, you are going to reap many benefits and rewards. You will receive pleasure from that pain. Examples of this is hitting the gym, getting a cold shower, going for a run, fasting. All of these actions have pain associated with them. But in the long term, in the short term and the long term, you will receive many rewards because you're getting healthier, you're going to feel better, you're going to release those endorphins, and you will receive pleasure from the pain. On the other hand, if you are using pain and pleasure to if you allow pain and pleasure to use you, that's when we start running into problems, meaning that you go for pleasure before you even have you get like that short-term pleasure, which is like eating junk food. In the short term, it fucking tastes delicious, bro. I love chocolate. That's like my one of my biggest vices. But in the long term, it's hurting our gains, it's hurting our body. Also with porn, short term it feels good, but in the long term, it can cause ED. It's not the same thing as being with a real life woman. So when you're in that moment, it's going to cause problems and you're just blasting, spiking your dopamine, which will reduce your willpower and motivation. So manage your dopamine levels by limiting exposure to social media, pornography, alcohol, drugs, unhealthy food, and other vices which can reduce motivation and discipline. So we're not advocating here that you can't enjoy a good drink every now and then. You just have to be aware of the effects that it has on your dopamine levels. Like I like to get one or two drinks whenever I'm out with a cute girl on a date. I think that's perfectly fine. But when you start overdoing it, when you're drinking so much every other day, that's when you start to run into problems. So your mental health is very important when it comes to willpower, discipline, and motivation. And overstimulating your dopamine levels will make you feel like shit, and it will reduce your motivation towards your top priorities. The top priorities that we mentioned in video 2, Power Strategy 2. Again, this link below in the description that really breaks down how to list out your priorities and goals. So dopamine, it's the silent killer, man, because we don't expect it, bro. Like you're scrolling through Instagram, and then next thing you know, 30 minutes have passed, nothing has been accomplished. You're just doom scrolling like a zombie, and you are getting that dopamine hit, that fix, but you're not accomplishing anything in that process. So it's it's uh it's it's nefarious how it can fuck up your progress because you're just not aware of it. You're going through your day to day, and then social media hits, then something else. You're watching TV for 2 hours, and these things just they just creep up on you and waste your time and energy. So when we jump into implementation, we need to identify negative dopamine. So negative dopamine results from unhealthy activities like we mentioned social media, junk food, the P Hub. These behaviors all provide that short-term pleasure, but they can lead to addiction, decreased motivation, and reduced productivity. This is the most important one, productivity, because if you're doom scrolling, next thing you know, an hour has passed, and bro, like I'm guilty of it, bro. Before I read a really good book on this. I think it's called the Molecule of More, that talks intensively about extensively about dopamine, and it's just crazy how much it lowers your productivity when you start allowing your dopamine to spike up and down with food, with social media, with fucking Pornhub. So it's important to identify this so we can reach our long-term success. We can do this, we can remove these cheap sources of dopamine through a digital detox. So take a break from digital devices such as smartphones, your computer, social media, just to reduce that stress and refocus on your personal well being and real life interactions. This will improve your productivity, give you more time for exercise, improve your sleep quality, and allow you to live more in the present moment. So, one thing I've noticed, man, about this generation is that, like, a lot of this generation's on their phones, man. When it comes to every interaction, any social interaction, when it comes to dating, people are on Tinder, people are on Bumble, and there's nothing wrong with that because I've used those apps before. I tested them out, and you can have a pretty good success rate for landing dates and talking to women, setting up dates. But the thing is that nothing beats a genuine interaction in person when you actually meet someone and you establish that connection off the bat in person. It's just nothing beats that. Nothing can beat it. Compare like if you compare that to swiping right on Tinder and swiping left, like it's just not the same thing. And like the new generation is not accustomed to real life interactions. So when you take a break for digital detox, like through a digital detox, it just allows you to refocus on those real life interactions, but it also allows you to be more present where you're not always on your phone. You can actually enjoy the little things in life that are very rewarding, like going for a nice walk in the park, going for a workout, going to a coffee shop, meeting a cute girl there, sparking up a conversation. These are these interactions, man, like they'll maximize your productivity. You'll just feel a lot better. You feel that you're really in the present moment. So we need to focus on the rich sources of dopamine, the positive sources. So positive dopamine is released in response to healthy, rewarding activities, boosting motivation and pleasure. By engaging in such activities like exercising, setting small goals, and connecting socially, you can increase your focus and drive, helping you achieve your goals and succeed in life. It will also lead to better mental health and overall well-being. So, man, like the other day, bro, like I was feeling like shit. Like I was working the whole day. I had a horrible headache, and I just went outside for 10 minutes, took a walk here to the coffee shop that's closer here. And bro, I felt 10 times better, man. Just taking that walk in, that fresh air, it just made me feel so much better. And positive dopamine is powerful. This is what we want to maximize on. And another great strategy that you could do is when you start focusing on your positive dopamine, whether you're hitting the gym, getting a cold bath, or you're getting an ice bath, you're going for a hike, going for a swim, you can focus on maximizing that positive dopamine, but then to you can also use it on you can use it in a good way where you can post it on your social media, like you getting in your workout, and you're tricking your brain to reach for goals. Once you actually accomplish your goal, let's say you hit a workout, hit a PR, you can take a picture of you and your workout, post it on your social media so you get a rich source of dopamine. I'm not saying to stay away completely from Instagram, social media, these apps, because they're also helpful when it comes to dating. I would argue that our Instagram is probably the best dating app out there because if you show your lifestyle, it does a lot of the work for you, especially if you have a good lifestyle, you know how to take good pictures. You see that girls will see that you have a nice lifestyle. So you can use this positive dopamine in that manner where you are highlighting those activities on your profiles. It's very powerful. That's what I like to do. And I think it just shows that it shows my lifestyle, shows that I'm disciplined, I'm motivated, in the gym, and it's very helpful when it comes to dating. So that's just a little strategy there that you can implement when it comes to positive dopamine. But when you reach for positive dopamine, it releases the good hormones that we want, like endorphins, norepinephrine, response to stress. You start to regulate this in the correct way. Serotonin, once you hit a powerful workout, you're tired, you want to get some good sleep. Dopamine, once you hit that workout, dopamine is released because you actually accomplished what you set out to accomplish. So this is dopamine control. Gentlemen, hormone control is very important. And I completely understand because I used to be a victim to this shit too. Because if you think about it, man, like a lot of the companies that run social media, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, all of these companies, like their main goal is to make an algorithm to get you addicted to use the application. So they have professionals, scientists, psychologists behind the design of the app. They want to take your attention from you. So we have a big enemy in front of us. It's like companies that are investing so much money into an algorithm that gets you hooked on it, that gets you attention. They want to keep spiking your dopamine so you can keep coming back for your next fix. So, like, I completely understand, man. It's not your fault. Like, we've all been there. But once you start realizing this, you can start identifying when your dopamine is being sacrificed, when they're just draining your attention and your energy. Dopamine is highly important. If you know how to redirect your dopamine the correct way and you start focusing on rich sources of dopamine, hitting the gym, being out in nature, working out, making approaches in real life to some cute girls, you're releasing that dopamine in the correct manner. So this is Dopamine Control. We are going to continue on with the series. If you made this far into the video, I really appreciate you. Make sure to give us a like. Also, hit that subscribe button. In the next video, we're going to be focusing on, let me go ahead and pull it up so I can show you guys. We'll be focusing on positive networks, and this is going to get a lot deeper when it comes to your network, your gang, your tribe of men around you. So stay tuned for that. I'll catch you guys all in the next video. As always, stay strong, stay relentless, and keep on conquering. You got this. Peace.